Am I really live that fast? It looks like I am, so I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to say hello because I watched somewhere today where people were saying how they hate it when streamers come on and then say things like, "Oh, I'm going to wait till people fill up the room and don't just start talking." Like, what if there's one or two of you already there? Why would you make me wait? So I won't. In case this is the first time here. Oh, what was that? Oop, I should have put myself on do not disturb. Speaking of do not disturb, I can't. The goal here is to go live for the next 90 days to get to monetization. And so if you're new here, my name's Alicia, and this is Slasher Chick TV. Now, the things I'd like to talk about over the next 90 days and what I generally like to talk about on my channel um, are growth mindset and negotiation strategies that allow you to hack a life that you love so that you never have to choose between this or that. You can always say yes to this slash that and acknowledge all the multi passionate and multifaceted faceted roles you play in your life, right? Right now, I have a job, so I'm a startup employee slash content creator because I'm trying to make this YouTube thing pop off. So this is, and I'm still learning how to use StreamYard, but we're going to try something out here. This is my first banner on the StreamYard. And so, yeah, this is day 1 of 90. Mhm. And technically, I am live, so I can say it's complete because I haven't committed to a certain amount of time that I need to go live. I feel like it's like a half hour, though, because here's the thing about how YouTube works. Even if people are subscribed to my channel and have clicked the notification bell to all so that they are notified every time I upload content, right? It may or may not send that message, and it definitely may or may not send it right away while I'm live. Like maybe it might take some folks some time. I also know that if I want to go live every day for the 90 days, I should pick the same time because YouTube algorithm prefers consistency in that respect in terms of the same time. Now, as soon as I got ready to click the live button, that's obviously when I felt the worst at all today. But that's how things go. Because of course, when I was going to go live, suddenly I'm nauseous. That might be nerves. But here's the thing, because what I put as the title here, I'm not nervous to talk about. I can easily talk about this. Now, I don't know if you have heard about the couple stranded. So I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at the couple that is stranded because they're not alone. It's like 8 people stranded or something. Or it was. They have been since reunited with their cruise ship. But on one of my previous live streams, before I started this 90-day challenge and I was just trying to get content, I was talking about a lot of the benefits of solo travel. I started solo traveling last year after, having thought about it over time that it'd be something I'd be probably interested in, but just finally taking the leap. And because I was going to be a woman traveling alone to not only state the other side of the country, but also to the other side of the world, I also went to Europe. So in my solo travels in 2023, I went to Arizona and saw the Grand Canyon. I traveled to Honolulu, Hawaii, Paris, France, and the on a cruise to the Bahamas. And the cruise was the first time I had been on a cruise in like since I don't know 2004 or 2005, like a really really long time. Um, but I was kind of excited about going on the cruise because it felt like it made a lot of the things about solo travel a little bit easier. But because there had also been so long since I'd done it, I wanted to be really um, do a lot of research to make sure I knew what I was getting myself into. So one of the things I started doing was watching a lot of the cruise content creators, um, and particularly those that talk about cruise news. So now that I'm back on the cruise ship, I I'm definitely down that I still watch it and consume a lot of cruise news. So I say all that to say, um, about this. Wait, so yeah, what I wanted to show you first though was before I even finished the search. See, now I haven't messed up the algorithm, but here's let me just show you what is this thing called? The Google says. Go over to that screen and I will show you how Google is reacting when I go try to search this. Okay, so before I could finish, right, I just looked couple stranded and they immediately were like in Africa from cruise ship. Yes, that's who I'm talking about. And as you can see, 8 cruise ship passengers stranded in Africa after what happened. Okay, we're going to check out the news on, darn it. I was going to go to a reputable source like today.com, but I mean, there's Reddit. So, but this is as of a day ago. I know they've since been oh, this is not Reddit. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anyway, this is exactly my point. No one's really going to risk this unless they absolutely have to. But the short of it is a group of cruise passengers were stranded on an island because they did not get back to the ship in time. Um, and there's been a lot of stories about like how far away they were. I mean, how late they were. Was it a few minutes? Was it an hour? Who knows? But it's one of those things that's like not really negotiable with the cruise ship. It's one of those things that you have to get back there on time, or you are not going to make it. Um, and it's kind of in all of the agreements that you signed. And so that's why my tip number one for as a solo cruiser, a mistake to avoid so you don't end up stranded on an African island is if you were going to go on an excursion, make sure you choose an excursion that is only sponsored by the cruise ship. Like you bought it from the cruise ship website, and that way they have to wait for you. It's the only way to ensure that they will wait for you no matter what, if you are late. Now, tip number two, especially if you are traveling solo, like one of the people in this particular group, um, she is an elderly woman, um, who had gotten sent to the hospital while on this stay and ended up having to stay longer than anticipated, and she also got left by the ship. Now she's with the group, got back on, etc. But that's what leads me to tip number two because it's one of the main reasons why you really should buy travel insurance if you are going to travel alone. Now, you can get travel insurance from the actual cruise line, or you can buy your own travel insurance, especially if you're going to be, cruising on a regular basis. Then maybe you might want to find, I mean, solo on a regular basis, you might want to find a company that you're comfortable with and regularly have travel insurance so that you don't have to worry about it. Protected at all stages of your travel journey. So that's tip number two. Tip number three, as a solo traveler, one mistake to avoid is not making your dinner reservations in advance if you can. If you can make, like if you want specialty dining on a cruise ship, I recommend trying to make all of your dinner reservations in advance of getting on the cruise through the cruise website. And you can always cancel them if you choose not to do it. Cancel the ship and get your money back, or if it was a specialty dining that you had to pay for in advance, or cancel it right before. But just lock in your reservation as soon as possible so that things don't fill up. Tip number 4 for a solo cruiser and a mistake to avoid is not paying your gratuities in advance. So, one of the main reasons to pay your gratuities in advance is you don't want them trying to come get you at the end of the what do you call it? At the end of the cruise, saying that you still owe them money. So you want to make sure if you just pay your gratuities in advance, and I know what you might be thinking is like, oh, well, they don't necessarily um, all earn a lot, or it doesn't always go to the crew. I want to be able to give it right to them. You can do that too, but also just pay the gratuities up front so that you're not having to worry about it. Okay, now tip number, what are we on? I think this is number 5 of mistakes to avoid. So, yeah, mistakes to avoid. Number 1 was get an excursion that's directly from the cruise line, get travel insurance, pay your gratuities in advance, schedule all of your specialty dining if you'd like it. And tip number 4, or well, number 5, I mean, mistake number 5 to avoid is leaving your important documents and medicine on the ship. Uh, I just don't recommend doing that as a solo traveler. My logic is when I get off that ship, just in case something pops off, I need to figure out how I'm either going to get to an embassy and or back to the United States. And I need to have either all of my medication or all of my documentation on my person in case something happens. Now, I know what you might be concerned with. It's like, oh, but what if I lose those things, or whatever, what have you? There are so many brands that offer things with like hidden pockets and stuff that you could be able to use. Um, I don't even have a particular brand, but look, you can even get it off Amazon, clothes with hidden pockets. And okay, what men's anti-theft pocket boxer brief? I mean, I guess that's one way to go. Oh, you know what? I'm not even showing all this screen. Okay, here we go. All right, that's one way to go. You could go this anti-theft, right? You could get something like this running band. But I was looking for like they have just like t-shirts or hidden bra travel wallet. Okay, never. This one's new. But hey, the bottom line is no one's pickpocketing that. Okay? That this is wild and hilarious to me. And wildly hilarious. Um, but even they have these money belts. Oh, okay. I'm totally getting distracted now because this money belt definitely makes me think of Gone Girl. But at any rate, yeah, number 5. Get some clothes with some hidden pockets or something, because you're going to need to take your documents. You're going to need to take your medication. And if you are on that, getting off the ship for an excursion or something like that, you want to make sure that if something pops off, you can get home. So that is a mistake to avoid. Number 6, I've gotten this one from all of the vloggers, and I guess I have to agree. One mistake I would say to avoid as a solo traveler is thinking that you can't ask for what you want, right? Like if I as a solo cruiser took the 2 beds and I'm like, put them together. But if I want extra pillows, even though it's just me, I want extra pillows. It is what it is. I can create the experience I want. Now, worst case scenario, they're going to say no. But that lets you know whether you want to go back on that cruise line or not, right? It's your money, but you got to ask for what you want 100% of the time. Just be willing to negotiate the difference and see what happens. So that is tip number 6. Ask for what you want. Tip number 7 for mistakes to avoid as a solo cruiser. Now, mind you, I'm making some of these up as I go along because I can't stop thinking about this couple. Like, I don't know if you have seen them in the news, but they have been so entitled about this too, and that like they are upset that they are being left when the rules are so very clear. Oh my gosh, my lighting has gotten. Oh, okay, there we go. The rules are so very clear about not being late. All right, tip number 8 for mistakes to avoid as a solo cruiser so you don't end up stranded on an African island. All of these aren't about safety. Some of these are about just having a good time, right? So, tip number 8, I would say, as a mistake would be not. Actually, this is a mistake that I recently did. There's usually like a special brunch or something, like a sea day type special thing or specials that are for like take advantage of the specials is basically what I'm saying. If there's a special like sea day brunch, make sure you figure out how you're going to get that in, but maybe you can't take advantage of that. Maybe you don't really want to go to one of the ports as much, so you take advantage of some of the special discounts they have at the spot if you go during port. One special I did make sure to take advantage of is on a lot of the cruise lines. If you book the steakhouse on a certain day or something like that, they will gift you a bottle of wine. And as a solo cruiser, it didn't make sense to pay for the drink package. I'm never going to drink that much to pay for that to make that worth it. But to get like my own free bottle of wine that I could take back to the room, like, that was absolutely perfect. So another mistake to avoid would be taking advantage of the discounts. All right, what are we on? Number 7, number 8. Tip number 8 as a solo cruiser to avoid or mistakes to avoid. I I don't know if I would consider this a mistake. Okay, yeah, I will say a mistake to avoid is not checking your room before you're going to board the ship. If it's at all possible and you have some flexibility, I would just always check because rooming near the elevators or the stairs is just always going to be louder than other parts of the ship. And so you just want to keep that in mind as a solo cruiser. It may not bother you. It might bother you if you're going to hear people coming in and out at all hours of the night because you're right by the elevator. So something to consider. So I would just say one of the mistakes would be not checking where you're going to be housed on the ship and trying to get a lay of the land before you get on there. Uh, Number 9, I would say, this is definitely one to avoid. Okay. Make sure if you're going on a cruise and you're got your bags like checked where they're going to drop them off at your room, just take a little carry on. Like, because you don't know if something's going to happen with your luggage. It's just like the airline, like something could happen. But make sure that you have some luggage with you to like, has the change of clothes, has the bathing suit, has your important medication that you keep with you. Um, so that no matter what, however long it takes for you to get your luggage, like you can kind of enjoy some things around the ship while you're waiting for the rest of your things. Number 9. Am I on number 9 or number 10? I feel like this is number 9. Who cares if I get a bonus one, right? Um, Mistakes to avoid as a solo cruiser. And I'm thinking now about things I regret not taking advantage of as a solo cruiser. Okay, I I don't know how to phrase this, but I'm just gonna say, like, avoid not being immature and childish. I Next solo cruise I go on, I am actually gonna get on the water slide and do, like, miniature golf. I didn't do the kid activities, because I didn't have any kids. I wasn't there with any kids, so, it just didn't I felt, bad. But if I was up early enough, right, where I could have gotten there, like, really early before any of the kids got there and still went down the water slide. Like the ship that I was on, it had a pretty cool looking water slide. I'm gonna have to like I'm just gonna find your photo here so you can see. Oh, here's somebody's. Oh. Okay, I'm jealous right now that I missed out on this when I look at this guy's video here. Hold on. Let me put this in here. It's just called a reaction. I think I'm allowed to do this. Okay, first of all, let me just say this. This is going to be tip number 10 so that I can round it out here. Okay. Maybe this is that'll work. Don't sleep on Carnival. Okay. I want to say that Carnival, I had judgments about Carnival. Hey, Marlene. Um, oh, good. Oh, thank you. I'm love that this has a time sync because I can see like when you finally um chatted. But thank you, Marlene motivates in the chat because Marlene is definitely part of the impetus as to why I'm here. Her name is accurate and that she does motivate people to do the things that they say they want to do. At the very least, follow through on the things you said you wanted to do. So thank you for the motivation, Marlene. If you notice from the banner, this is day 1 of 90. I'm going to try to go 90 days live streaming. I'm really just trying to get to monetization. Now let me also name that wasn't my idea. I saw some other creators that did this. The one okay, let me focus here. That's that's funny. Um so the first person that actually said it was April Lynn Alter. She has like a YouTube channel that's very much about YouTubing. And since I love the YouTubes and the business of the YouTubes, I found it quite interesting. And I kept getting recommended this same video by her that I just was like, why am I keep getting recommended this video? Like, what is the algorithm trying to tell me? Um, and eventually I finally gave it a watch, but I only finally gave it a watch after, okay, this is April Lynn's channel. And this is here, this, yeah, how to make a killer algorithm one is the one I kept getting recommended. I wasn't trying to do that. It's done. But at any rate, this young lady, Sky Hendon, she had just yeah, gone live for like 90 days straight to get some monetization. And she was also inspired by what's the other girl's name? Yeah, Nala Bright. So I want to, give credit where credit is due. That in addition to Marlene motivating us to do 30 days of screaming, this is where I got the idea to try to push to 90 to get to monetization. But I am getting way off track right now because that's I was on my 10th tip here, I think. On my 10th tip for solo cruisers, okay, yeah, is a mistake to avoid is to avoid not being childish. Do some of the kiddie things. And we were about to look at this slide that I missed out on that next time I'm on a Carnival cruise, I'm going to do. So yeah, I was saying that I did underestimate Carnival in that since it was the last time I had been on a cruise was actually on Royal Caribbean, but prior to that, I had been on Carnival, and I found it very like spring breakish. Like if I were under 25, I probably would have loved it, but I'm not, so I didn't. But when I went back this time, I was very strategic about how I was going to avoid that spring break feel. Now, I don't think it was very spring breakish, but I also went for the last week of the year. It was like a new year, it was December 26th through like the 31st. So it was more family, I would say, than it was spring breakish. But I also made sure to stay on the spa level because I just didn't think a lot of children would be desiring to stay on the spa level. But I do regret not taking advantage of some of the childlike things, such as the water slide and the miniature golf. Now, this video, yeah, that I was about to watch was about what the water slide is actually like. So, and the next time I go on a Carnival cruise, I do have a cruise scheduled for the end. Yeah, not the end of the year, but for November for my birthday. This time, I'm going to Ensenada and leaving from Los Angeles. I've never been to Los Angeles, so super excited about that. And hopefully, I will take y'all along with me. But here we go. Let's see what this slide looks like or is like to experience. How do I even turn this? Here's the water slide. Wow, turn the camera around. Thank you. I definitely should have did this slide. How many times did he go down this slide to get both angles? I don't know. But all I know is I should have done this slide. This looks like so much fun. Adults deserve joy too. Okay, like water slides are not just for kids. If you like water and you like slides, water slides are there for you too. Now, watch out. Don't jump in front of children. Don't knock the children over. But you can enjoy a slide. And next time I am going to. So that would be tip number 10 as a mistake to avoid. Avoid not doing the childish thing. And last, I would say, because I don't know if that was really 10 or 9, I would say is to, how would I phrase this as a mistake to avoid? Avoid avoid staying inside your comfort zone. Like I think obviously I have my own opinions about the purpose of travel, but I do think the purpose of travel is also to expand our horizons. And so try something a little bit different. Now, I'm not saying you have to be reckless, but being outside of your comfort zone would be like trying a food you wouldn't normally try, or my outside of my comfort zone on the cruise, my last cruise was I did enter the karaoke contest. I did not now I entered, but I did not even get selected to participate. But I'll tell you, I was so glad that I was there because the actual karaoke competition in itself was like one of, even though I didn't get selected, it was like one of the best experiences I had on the cruise because I love it when things happen that actually make me believe in human nature again. So there, I'd been going to karaoke every night on the cruise because I love karaoke. And so, there's a couple people that you start to notice, like, oh, we're all here all the time. And then there was like this one woman on the ship that like was so good. So I really hope that like she was going to get into the competition. Like there were multiple people in the room that were hoping that she was going to get into the competition. So like when they pulled the random names out of the hat, like she didn't get selected and people were like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So one of the girls that did actually get selected ended up giving her, I'm about to tear up just thinking about it. It was so awesome. So one of the girls that did get selected, her name was, we're going to call her for the sake of this, Maisha. And when Maisha got selected, she ended up giving her entry to Katie, which was the person that everybody really wanted to like be able to be in there. And so Katie was then able to be in the competition. Katie obviously won the competition because that's how good she was that everybody wanted her to be in this competition. And then when Katie won the competition, she won a trophy and a bottle of champagne. And so she gave the bottle of champagne to Maisha, who gave her the ticket to enter the competition. Like it was the cutest thing ever. And I'm so glad I was there at karaoke to witness it, even though I didn't get selected. And had I stayed inside my comfort zone and not taken the risk of like, okay, I'm just going to go and enter anyway, I wouldn't have been in the room. I wouldn't have been able to see that interaction. And I wouldn't have seen such a fun competition because it was a great competition. So those are my tips for solo cruising so you don't end up like the couple that was stranded. And so you can have a good time. But more than anything, and most importantly, it is my first stream of this challenge that I'm going to do. And at a minimum, go live for 30 days straight. I have not figured out exactly what time, and I know that that consistency is preferred. So I'm gonna figure that out eventually. It feels like also this stream kept breaking up. Marlene, am I breaking up? Let me know. Um, but at any rate, oh, I see how long I've been. I've been live for 30 minutes and 29 seconds. So I think I said at the beginning I didn't have an amount of time I was going to try to stay live as a part of this commitment, but I do feel like 30 minutes is like the threshold. So I'll say 30 minutes unless I'm like not feeling well, which today I'm actually not, but we out here. We got it done. But that's day 1. Check. And I will see you back here hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow's a Friday night. I do not know what my Friday night stream shall be about. But apparently I'll be back on here streaming for at least 30 minutes over the next 29 days. So thank you for coming. And I hope you subscribe, hope you come back, and have a great night. Bye, Marlene.